Hey, we are finally here. And I want to welcome all of you to the very first episode of Getting Random with Z.Singleton. Woo!
Yeah, yay.
And I am so happy to say this is my very first episode, and the very first episode is considered Origin Friday. So for the next two episodes, you're gonna get random and expertise, which basically breaks down what Z Singleton is all about and what this show is all about. I am so excited to have you, and I'm excited to have you also, sir.
Appreciate it. Appreciate
So
it.
this is my boy Tree, and we've known each other for a while, a long time. Like I
Yeah.
was either 16 or 17, and we was in the holy house of the Lord when when we met each other. So, and he was the drummer
Yeah.
at the church that we went to. I got a lot of really good friends. That's where started my family. Right there was them. Well, I guess I'm kind of lying. I got a few other people that started the family a little bit earlier, but
But we was deep though.
we was real deep. Yeah,
Yeah.
at one house in Carson, California,
Yeah.
hanging out. Yeah, that's what always made me think. Like when I got older and had kids, if I had kids, is that basically I would have several kids so that they could be all have kid, other friends come over, because I remember how I had it
Yeah.
growing up, having from 16 on, or just having so many people around me. That's probably why I know so many people, and I don't want to like ever get rid of
It's
anybody.
important to be social. So,
Yeah, it's very, and I don't see that changing. But however, the point of origin story is that Tree is going to break down to us today
mm,
his story and where he started and where
yeah.
he's at. So I'm gonna start like this because I was gonna like say what you do and everything, but then I just changed my mind and I want you to say it. So
Okay.
who are you?
Well, ladies and germs, or ladies and gentlemen, I am minister right now, currently. Minister Montrell Big Tree Low. I produce music for Beats by the Treehouse. What else? I'm an actor, husband, father, friend, pretty much.
Brother? Yes.
Brother, yeah,
Yes, yes.
cousin, all that.
So how can we start this off? Where did it begin for you? What city? What
Uh, yeah, it began in the city of LA. As far as my career, Los Angeles, California.
Los
Actually,
Angeles?
to be honest with you, yeah, I could say LA, Inglewood.
Always up to no good.
I mean, I had friends that was in all kind of stuff. I ain't gonna say what they was into on the mic because I was into it too. But yeah, it all started in 90, 96, 97 when my boy Tommy was rapping, doing a lot of talent shows in LA, and I would just go with him and be like his hype man, and
Hmm.
just just it was fun back then. I wasn't thinking about it as a career because I was focused on basketball.
Hmm.
So one day we did a talent show and Watts at Ted Watkins Park, or Will Rogers, whatever you want to call it. Back then it was Will Rogers, but today it's Ted Watkins. We were doing a talent show, and afterwards we went back to his spot, and he was just rapping. So my granny had a stroke at that time. She was actually taking me to Inglewood to the apartment where we stayed at because we all stayed together. And he was rapping, and he was like, "Man, we need some beats." And then I was like, "Well, I could make some beats."
Oh.
He was like, "Well, we don't have no equipment, so we had to get the equipment." So Tommy scraped up a lot of the earnings that he was dealing with,
Mm.
and bought like a little Bose 4-track stereo and a keyboard and a couple other items, and the rest was history. I started making beats for him, and then the word started getting out. Then next thing you know, my auntie bought a keyboard for my grandma so she can rehab from her stroke,
Okay.
and she never saw that keyboard because I opened it out the box, told my auntie I was gonna set it up for her, and
Oh, you
then
stole the
I didn't
keyboard.
steal it. It
That's
was
what you
just no, no,
did.
no. So what happened was My auntie had bought the keyboard so she can rehab because the piano keys are heavy. So
Mm-hmm.
when you have a stroke, it's hard for you to move your hands and press down.
Mm-hmm.
So my auntie bought her this nice Casio keyboard that was light, light to the touch.
Mm-hmm.
So I just simply asked my auntie if I can just take it out the box and set it up and figure out how to work it so I can show her.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the intent. I took it out and set
Mm-hmm.
it up, and once I started playing on it and making beats, it was just a wrap. So I
Mm-hmm.
took it to the house,
So it's your
and
grandma.
then my grandma wasn't feeling good that day, so I just
Mm-hmm.
pulled it out on the front porch, and I just started making beats on the porch. And before you know it, it was just a whole bunch of gangsters in my front yard,
Rapping.
all on the porch, rapping.
Doing their
And
thing.
yeah, so she would come home, come outside. She would always see all these thugs.
Mm-hmm.
But then she saw me making music and she saw us just, pretty much having fun and being right there. So it was like it wasn't much we can get into. So
Right.
she was just like, okay, I'm going to let this slide.
Right.
But she didn't like it though, because, I was really a hoodlum back then.
Right.
So that's where it started at 99, 2000. And then one day I was on the porch again making beats, just out the blue, just making beats. And Warren G's wife pulled up
Mm-hmm.
and she heard me. So she came a couple doors down and she was like, "Are you making that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So she was like listening and watching me. And then she was like, "I'm going to go back and tell Warren that you got a skill." And then I was just like, "All right." Then he came on Christmas and he had a conversation with me. We walked up and down the block for like, I want to say about 43 minutes.
You trusted the streets of LA for 43 minutes?
Well, I was in my neighborhood, so
Walking up and down
I was
the
I was in my neighborhood and I was protected. So and
Okay.
then because I was walking with Warren G at that time, anybody that rode up, they stopped and acknowledged him,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like oh, I just saw Warren, he in the hood, like woo,
Right.
chopping it up with Tree, woo. So it just boosted my credibility a little bit as far
Mm-hmm.
as like what I was doing with the music. I was making a little noise, even though didn't nobody hear me but my friends and his wife.
Right.
But at that point, I knew that something was extraordinary happening. It was something happening. So I just kind of like ran with that with the music. So I just started producing and just making as many beats as I can. Then I started getting the buzz. That buzz took me to Vegas, and I got I got a contract with this label called Hit City,
Mm.
and
And they're located in
in
Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Okay.
So I went out there, I signed with them, and I became the producer for Hit City.
Okay.
And
Shout out to Hit City,
yeah,
right?
shout out to Hit City. Derek Carter was the owner of that. That was my very first signing,
Mm.
and my signing didn't consist of cash. It consisted of uh, a 4-bedroom house with a custom studio built downstairs. So the whole downstairs, the living room would be like a live band.
Mm-hmm.
The dining room, the tables were taken out, custom floor was put in, mirrors all around, dance hall, dance studio right there. And then you walk through the door to go to the garage. The garage was converted into a full-fledged studio
Mm-hmm.
with a booth that held about 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
So I was excited. So I went out there, started making music, got beside myself, caught my first case,
Uh,
and then I went to jail.
so,
Went to jail and then got out homeless.
oh man,
That was the first part.
right. But
Then bounced back. That was one of the hardest points in my life, just going to jail, because you always hear stories about people going to jail and then what they got to experience on the inside.
right.
And let me tell you, that ish is real. Like no matter what county you in, no matter what city or state you in, the county jail is always the hardest because it's divided up into 2 sections.
Do you mind me asking how long you were there? I won't ask what you
The first
did.
time, I don't mind telling you what I did because it might help somebody else
Right.
along the way.
Okay.
I got caught with some guns,
Okay.
but not just any guns. These guns were I didn't steal them, but they were stolen from
Okay.
police officers. So I just so happened to be going into a store, and right before I went in, I had my pants was like falling because I didn't have a belt.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to kind of like tuck my jeans, but I had my burner in my jeans, and I guess some lady that was in the parking lot was looking at me already because I was black. She
Mm-hmm.
was already looking at me, so she saw that I had a gun in my waistband. So she thought I was going into the place to rob it.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in there, bought my items, came out, 50 Las Vegas police officers right there,
Oh,
right
that's
there,
wild.
right there. Yeah. So immediately I went straight to jail, and it was like the worst experience, but it built so much more in me on
Mm-hmm.
a different level. I wasn't thinking about it then, but now that I'm older, I see like, just the path, if
Mm-hmm.
you allow destiny to take its course, you're going to learn some things,
Right.
if you don't fight it, sometimes you just put in situations where it has to teach you something because somebody else is not going to be able to teach you this lesson or tell you this lesson. You actually have to go through it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I found a lot of my hardships, based on, just where I'm at today, a lot of my hardships were necessary. A lot of the things that occurred. So the start was, going to jail off of that pistol case, and sitting in there for, I say the first time I was in there, the first time I got locked up, I was in there for a couple weeks,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So I got out, but because of the stipulations of my contract, I kind of messed that up.
Oh.
So we had hot female artists at the time that were making noise, and because I got locked up, it just kind of jeopardized a lot of stuff. So when I got out, I was just homeless. So I had to find a way to bounce back and mend my relationship with Derek.
Right. So I'm gonna just go stop right there in that part. Like they just let you out, and then they were
No,
like,
I had an OR. So basically, what that means is that you come back on your own recognizance. Like, I'm gonna let you out, but I'm gonna give you a court date, and when that court date comes, you got to show up. If you don't show up, then we're gonna put a warrant out for your arrest,
right.
and then it's gonna be worse. So
Okay.
because it was my first real offense, I got put in jail when I was 18 due to stealing, and I
Um.
sat in there for the weekend, but that was minor. This
Okay.
was
This is
like a felony, you know what I'm
right.
saying? Like a felony charge. So
Mhm.
because it was my first case in Las Vegas, they allowed me to sit in there for 2 weeks, and then they gave me an OR. So I got out, went right back to the shenanigans, didn't think too much about it. Made my court date, of course, and then I got put on probation. So that's that.
Mhm.
Now I'm trying to gain my life back, so I started working at like a convenience store in
Mhm.
Vegas because
Mhm.
it was the easiest jobs to get. You can go to a 7-Eleven or a Circle K or something like that and just apply and get a job real quick. So I did that.
Ooh,
While I'm in
I'm
there
I'm
one
glad
day,
I know that now.
yeah,
I
while
didn't know.
while I'm in there, I'm working one day on my shift, and this dude come in there with a whole crew. They all got on white T-shirts. They got on this blue writing on it, and it say "Straight West Coast," and it just got like "We with it" all over the back, and they just come in, and it's just like a mob of them, and they jump out like these trucks and these Cadillacs and all these cars, and I'm just like looking like, okay. So dude come in, and he like, yo, I need some liquor. Like, what you looking for? He was like, oh, I want the Remy, I want the Henny, I want this, I want that. And I was just like grabbing one bottle. He was like, no, I want all of it. And he just bought all of it and then gave me a big ass tip. So I was just like, okay. And
This is
then
at a convenience
at a
store?
convenience store,
Oh
right on the
man.
corner of on Arville and Spring Mountain. I can never forget it, in Las Vegas. And so he come get the liquor. They all bouncing out. I leave from around the counter,
Mm-hmm.
and I talk to one of the dudes, and I'm like, "Yo, what y'all do?"
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Oh, we rap. We do music." So I was like, "Oh, okay. I produce." That conversation right there is what changed my life.
Mm.
Just marketing myself,
Right.
it changed my life.
So like, don't be fearful if you know you got
No,
the
don't be
skill,
fearful. If you
get
got
it
a
in.
skill, if you got a passion, it's something that you like to do. Because at that point, I knew I wasn't going to be able to play pro basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I just got out of jail. Just nothing's looking right on the sports side. So I'm just like, okay, I can't go pro in basketball. I'm gonna go pro in something.
Right. Okay.
Music was just like right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I told Cave, that was my boy. I told him like, yo, tell the main dude like, I produce if you're looking for a producer.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I exchange numbers with him. I don't hear nothing from him. Right. So I get in contact with Derek. Derek let me back in the house. So we trying to mend our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 days later, Wack called me. He like, yo, this tree? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yo, shoot me your address. I'm finna pull up. So I'm like, okay. So I'm kind of scrambling now because this dude that just called me, he's not only about his business, but he got a name and he worth tickets. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So this is the type of dude that will literally, you'll see him and he about money because everything that he had on was well over 200, 300 racks.
Right.
Jewelry, diamonds, clothes, outfit. I mean, he was that dude.
Right.
So
But look at the timing though. Like you
yeah,
literally just fixed everything with Derek,
but
and
and that was the crazy part because I had was while I was trying to fix things with Derek in Hit City, some things had came up and we started bumping heads. So Wack kind of came in at the perfect time.
Okay.
So when he called me 4 or 5 days later, you know, I had just got robbed. Somebody broke into the studio, into the house, and then stole the equipment. So now all my beats and everything that I made that was dope, now it's gone. And then the dude that's pulling up that do music that want to hear my stuff, I'm in a situation, right? So most people would at that point would just be like, I'm I don't have it. I don't have nothing. I just got robbed. They're gonna make up an excuse. But me, I just kind of like went in there, reorganized the equipment, hooked it up to the point to where I could record, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and game changer. Because when he comes to the studio now, it's like, I'm coming to hang out. I'm just letting you know I'm coming to hang out. So his whole purpose was he was in the neighborhood. He was with some people. He wanted to just stop by, check out the crib, uh, have a couple drinks, smoke something, and then, see what it do. So I was like, all right, cool. So pull up. So he pulled up, couple cars deep, jump out females. I'm like, man, this is real. People at my house, and I'm like, they all bad. So growing up, I was considered the ugly kid. I was always the one being picked on. So naturally, you have a subconscious. In your subconscious, you kind of feel in a certain type of way about being around not only money but people that look good, smell good. You know what I'm saying? Talk good, and I'm just like a gutter dude at this point. I'm street. So everybody jump out. They come in. They check out the crib. They like, oh, okay, you kind of doing it. So I take them upstairs to my room, show them upstairs. Nice layout, big screen TV, walk in, bath. Everything was just like in my room, pretty much. I didn't have to go downstairs because I had so much stuff. My room was so big that I had a balcony that overlooked my living room from my bedroom. So the house was nice. So when they
Wow.
came in, they kind of they
Dreams.
took me serious, you know what I'm saying? So that was the first. I didn't have no car. I was skateboarding everywhere I had to go to. And this is a true story. I was skateboarding everywhere I had to go to a girl's house, to work, anything. So
So if I get a skateboard, will you show
oh
us
yeah,
your skills?
I could skateboard. Yeah,
That's going
I
to
could
have to be a
skateboard.
whole nother like just
Yeah, yeah.
5 minutes of it.
Yeah.
I'm coming with LA wherever you
Man,
at.
facts. So they come, we hanging out, and we get downstairs to the studio. He like, yo, this is a nice setup. So I'm like, okay, cool, thank you. What's going on with you? All right, well, currently I'm messing with these people, you know what I'm saying, but things ain't going right. I'm supposed to re-sign with them on my birthday. He talking about doing this and doing that, and it's just not adding up because I'm not profiting. I'm just
Right.
like working for people at this point, and I'm not getting
Paid. Broke
paid.
off.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Wack was like, all right, when it come time to your birthday, don't sign with them. But this was a later conversation that we had because we kept on interacting with each other from the first time that he came. So the first time that he came, he let me hear some of your beats. So on the thing, I could only play because my everything was stolen at that point. I could only play what I had just made, and what I had just made wasn't, it wasn't the caliber of music that they was, looking for. So I was like, well, look, I can create on the spot. You know what I'm saying? I'm a producer. I make beats. Like, let me, let's just vibe out. So we caught a vibe, and I made a beat banger. You know, so this is where it all changed because now Wack is the type of person is before I deal with you, I want to know who you are. I don't want to be around nobody fake. I don't want to come up. I don't want none of that.
Yeah.
So
I
now
understand
the
that.
investigation begins. This is crazy. So this is how business was handled in Las Vegas when you're dealing with gangsters. I'm just, like some mob stuff. It's gangsters. So he asked me like, "Where are you from?" So I tell him I'm from L.A. Oh, I'm from L.A. too. Okay, cool. Where you from? He said, "I'm from Whoop De Whoop Gangsters." So I was just like, "Oh, okay, yeah. I'm from Whoop De Whoop Crip." You know, we both Crips, so it's just like, okay, cool. We might not have hoods have gotten along, but it was still a Crip card. So it was a little comfortability there. Like, what up, cuz? What up, cuz? So
What up, gangsta?
yeah, we started to build a bond and loyalty based off of that. So then one day he come to my crib. He said, "I'm about to pull up on you," and I got the big homies with me. So I'm like, okay, cool. You feel me? So I'm in there at this point. I didn't regain some equipment. I'm back to just banging out slumpers. They pull up. You know, his big homies come in. They looking around. They looking at me. They like, yeah, they listen to how I'm talking and all that stuff. So they just like, okay, cool. So his triple OG asked me, "Hey, where you from?" And I told him where I was from. And he was like, okay. Grabbed his phone. "Hey, what's the deal, bro?" "Hey, yeah, I'm in Vegas. Hey, you know a dude named Whoop De Whoop De Whoop De Whoop
Oh
from
man.
Whoop De Whoop De Whoop De Whoop? What he look like? Oh, he tall, got big teeth. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah. Oh, okay, for sure. All right, cool." And then hung up. Verified. Investigation that quick, streetwise, streets, street stuff. Like
Right.
make a call, be like, "Hey, this nigga from your hood." Okay, cool. So after that, it was just like all love. So I'm banging out beats. Now I'm getting invited to go hang out with them. I'm putting on the shirts. They welcoming me in. So he's already got two producers though. He got a dude named Bozy T, who was stupid hot. Like this little nigga was hot. When I was just starting off, this was my competition. He had another dude named 20. 20 was dope too. But my competition was Bozy because Bozy had that sound. He had that, it was just an authentic sound that just sounded industry. So I had took that drive of trying to compete with Bozy and reinvented the treehouse sound. Once I did that, it was a wrap. So I got in, started hanging out with them, making beats and all that. And then a couple months later, sat down with Wack and he's like, "Yo, I wanna put you on probation." You know what I'm saying? When it come time for you to sign with Hit City, don't do it. I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. And I'm gonna do this. But the most important thing he said, "I'm gonna build your name. I'm gonna help build your name."
That's what's up.
So I was like, all right, oh, that sounded good. So I get a sign-on bonus. I get to move inside a mansion, and I get to drive all the hot cars and be around all the hot women. Come on, man. I'm
So now
finna
you got bank plus everything else that comes with it.
everything else. Yeah, I got it.
Oh,
Wack
that's
showed
what's
up and showed out. Shout out to Wacky Loco.
Shout out.
That's my guy brother right now. That's my guy. That's my guy. He really one of the only dudes in the streets. When I say streets, I mean a lot of people always make promises, right? I always tell you something, sell you a dream. But
Right,
this
right.
dude,
He follows
he
through
saw
his
something
word.
in me that I didn't even see in myself, and he worked me. Like it wasn't no, I can't sit here and say it was easy because it wasn't. I'm talking about 17 to 22 hours a day in the studio
Mm.
for years, years, not weeks, not that days, not months. I'm talking about years.
But that's an appreciation though, because now you can say like you flawless, right?
In a sense, I can because of Wack. See, Wack gave me he instilled in me the work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
about the work ethic. I knew about the putting in the work,
Right.
but there was the ethic behind it. You had to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
once I got to a certain point, then everything that he had said to me in the beginning started to really unravel.
Mm.
So once I did the 3 months probation, which is being his friend, which was hanging out with him and all his friends, having his friends okay and give the approval, even though we were from different sets, even though they was always trying to put me on a set, and I would always deny or be like, nah, I'm good. I'm you know what I'm saying? No disrespect, but I'm gonna stay where I'm at. It was all love.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because when people love you or when they drawn to you, they want you to be a part of what they got going on.
Right.
So from that aspect, I understood everything. Like these dudes they real.
Mm-hmm.
These some
Mm-hmm.
real street dudes, but they got heart and
Mm-hmm.
they really look after one another like family.
Right.
So that was another thing that I got from Wack and them that I wasn't getting from my area,
Mm-hmm.
which was a certain type of love and the way we function together, the way we build and the way we cry, the way we blood, sweat, and tears.
Right. Right.
I learned all that with Wack. So make a long story short, 3 months of his friend, then 3 months of being his producer, and then 3 months. Wait, yeah, was it? It was 90 days. So it was like
That's 3 months.
okay, so yeah, 90 days of being his friend, 90 days of being his producer, and then 90 days of living in. So you got to go through all that, to prove yourself, and then you still gotta do what you got to do.
Right.
So it was just like a lot, but it was so worth it because, like I said, he saw something in me that I didn't see. And then once we got to a point where we had a sound
Mm-hmm.
and we were making noise, it was just like, Wack was already making noise before I came.
Right. Right.
It was just he just took me under his wing
Mm-hmm.
and was like, look, you a dope producer, you could be a lot better.
Right.
And then he used to always tell me, his favorite thing to tell me was, nigga, it's a 16-year-old right now that's in there working on his craft that's about to run circles around you. So that kept me kind of motivated. You know what I'm saying? He would come in and be like, yo, take this album. And it'd be like a Beyonce song.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll be like, listen to this song over and over again. Write down every single sound that you hear.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Write down the tempo, write down like just different things. Now take those sounds that's in this beat and remake a beat using just these sounds.
Oh man.
Like he would like it was like school.
Yeah,
It wasn't like
say you was at a
yeah,
whole academy.
it wasn't. And this the
Boot
crazy
camp.
thing was nobody was doing it like Wack was doing it. Like the way Wack would pour into you and build you, it was like he was doing it to himself. If he had the talent to make beats, but he was a rapper, so he was like, well, if I was doing, I'm gonna be like this. So I'm gonna we're gonna train like this. So it was real intense, but it was at the end of the day, it was so worth it. Shout out We With It. It was worth it. Like everything that we went through, the ups, downs, it was all worth it.
So where did it go from here?
Up because so the thing is, and this is no disrespect to nobody. When I started doing music, I was in the world. So that's the first set apart. Because that's actually you down when you're in the world. When you're doing what everybody else is doing, you down. So I didn't realize it, but I was down until I met Christ. And then once I met Christ, it was just like, okay, well, all the energy that I'm putting into this, I could rechannel it and put it into you.
Right, right.
And then that's when I started making noise. That's when it really started, because when you're in the world and you're trying to chase a Grammy, it's like the hardest thing to do because you got so many people around you that's selling their soul for these trophies and these, these things. And at that time, you're not really looking at it like, oh, you got to sell your soul to make it in, but you technically do. You do.
Right.
You gotta give up pretty much everything in order to get everything. And then once you get everything, you're miserable.
That's
That's
deep.
yeah. So it's just like at a point, it's just like okay, well, God didn't allow me to go through all this stuff with all these different people for no reason,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I took everything that I've learned from with Derek and just all the people that I've ever worked with,
Mm-hmm.
and then I took what Wack instilled in me.
Mm-hmm.
So Wack, because of Wack, the very first person, the people that I produced for was 112, and I grew up listening to them.
What?
Right, Q and them flew to the house and stayed 4 days with us, and we worked in the studio for 4 days. And the crazy part was Q was the one that he was the first person that I saw, which was the leader of 112. He was the first person that I saw before any activity took place, basketball, studio, music. He prayed,
Mm.
and he prayed with everybody in the room. So it was just like, wow, that was powerful. And then the vibe of the studio sessions was just like no other. So after they left, after us kicking it, playing basketball and eating together and just
Mm-hmm.
building a
Community.
bond,
Yeah.
yeah. So they leave and then they invite me and Wack to fly out to Atlanta to go play basketball with them. But we never got a chance to do that because we was so busy. So 112 was the first person that I actually got to work with hand in hand because of Wack. So this is him keeping his promise, changing my name, making it bigger.
Right. Right.
Then got the Spice ones. Then I got the Young Tones and the Roscoe's, Corrupt Brother.
Mm-hmm.
Then we did some stuff for Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
And then, it just Spice One, Cat Williams, it just started taking off.
Nice.
All these different ventures and people we around and, just hanging out, having relationships with Cat Williams.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. He come to the studio, him and Wack be talking for hours. It's just just the whole ambiance.
Right.
Everything that Wack built, it was legendary.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why it was legendary is because of how he did it. You know what I'm saying? He took his hard earned money and just like I'm a just build a studio, not knowing that one day that it would just change the lives of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was like, take that same drive and I'm gonna do it. And then I was scared. Man, when I first started building the treehouse, I was terrified because I didn't want to fail. So I didn't want to do nothing. But then I thought about it like, well, if I don't try, I'm more of a failure than anything if I don't try. So, and then people telling me I got a sound, so let me just cultivate it. So Wack planted the seed and then watered it, and then God gave the increase over time, and we just kept growing, kept driving, and then life happened. I was in the studio with DJ Paul from 3 6 Mafia. We had a 10-hour session.
Mm-hmm.
I took 6 beats and made 6 beats with DJ Paul. Me and DJ Paul, he's standing over my shoulder. He telling me I like this sound, I don't like this sound.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making like beat after beat, 6 beats in the same tempo.
Mm-hmm.
And he took those 6 beats and made it into 1 beat. And then all of the 3 6 Mafia got on there. Juicy J started off the track.
Right.
I was the last producer to have all of them on the track before they start dying. So Wack not only put me in a position to win, but he put me in a position to have a legacy too.
Right.
Low key.
Yeah, that
because 3 6 Mafia,
dope.
3 6 Mafia is huge.
Right.
So for me to have the last track that every single member was on, and then a couple days later they start dying off.
What song is that one?
It's called Body Parts.
How ironic is that? But it's called Body Parts.
It's called Body
and
Parts.
Right after that, they all start.
Not all of them, but a couple of them started dying off. Yeah, and like it was sad because, like I said, they're a legendary group.
Right.
Grammys. They put in the work. DJ Paul, shout out to DJ Paul. He awesome dude to work with. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. Shout out.
Yeah, like it just my journey was different. It
Mm-hmm.
was different because I was already set apart from birth. Even though the homies in my neighborhood knew, like, when it came to doing certain things, I wasn't allowed to do it
Right.
because I had talent. Not
Right.
only was I a good athlete, a great athlete, people would put money on me and
Mm-hmm.
win big when
Right.
when I played basketball, but music wise, I had a gift too. And so they were like, okay, well, if they're going to do this, you need to be doing this, working on your, what I'm saying?
Right. So they
Be the
protected
one
you.
that come out the hood in a good way.
Man, that's dope.
So I had the right big homies. It was just, and I still keep in contact with my big homies all day, every day.
Right. And I think that's
Because they
important.
different, they change.
Yeah.
God is in
Yeah.
their life, and
Mm-hmm.
it's all the more reason to still pay homage to those that protected you and looked out, when things could have went sour.
Right.
So
So I want to go all the way back to the year that you were born, all the way to maybe, well, let's go 12, let's go 5. What influenced you? Because, like I said, I met you when I was like 16,
16.
17, and you were playing drums. And so, like, to honestly hear, like, you were also playing like the keyboards and stuff. So it had to come from somewhere.
So my granny was a famous gospel musician. She was known in the state of California and in Memphis, Tennessee. She was her when it came to piano.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, wherever she went, I was like her purse. I was always with her,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So one day at a rehearsal, I guess the drummer didn't show up. So I just started tinkering, messing with the drums.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandma saw that I had an interest. So she bought me some drums.
Nice.
And she took me to my grandpa's church. And my grandpa had a small church. I'd say about like 15, 20 members,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I learned how to play there. My timing was off. I was terrible, terrible. I couldn't keep a beat. So started at the age of 6. By the time I got to 9,
Mm-hmm.
I was decent.
Okay. Okay.
By the time I got to 12, I was a beast.
Hey, I was gonna say you. I
I was
remember
a
you were
beast.
on those drums. You was doing it. So yeah.
my granny in the gospel was my influence to doing music. But
Mhm.
I've always had a thing for instruments. Like my
Mhm.
first instrument was a violin. My second instrument was a tuba.
Man, shout out to your granny.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Trombone,
I mean,
like
because
baritone. Yeah, I was into music. Like it was just all around me. Like my grandma would just write songs. She would play. We had a piano in the house. That's another reason how I learned to play, because I would just walk out the door and just touch the piano,
Mhm.
come back in, touch the piano, and sit there and watch her write songs and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So it just, it was always in me, around me, but I didn't know that it was in me like that. So then, you know,
And then God brought the right people around you
yeah,
and
like
pushed them
like
into your
Tommy.
life.
Tommy was the start of it.
Yeah.
Like Tommy, I was making beats for him. It started in like 99, 2000. That's where it started.
Mhm.
And then 2004, it was with Derek and his city.
Mhm.
And then 2006, it was with We With It, and it's been We With It ever since then.
Okay.
And I mean that. Like, I'm We With It. Like, there is, no matter what I go through in life, no matter like what changes I make, it's We With It. And the reason why I say that is because that was my family when I didn't have no family.
Mhm.
Like when I was out there in the streets homeless, and I didn't have like nothing but doubt.
Mhm.
Wack was there.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he was a real stand-up dude. So not only do I have it tatted on my shoulder, but I got it tatted on my arms. We With It Riders. So it's like, it's some things that'll just always be with you.
Right.
No matter how small I get, how big I get,
Mhm.
they gonna know about We With It, because that's the foundation. So
Mhm.
because he believed in me that much, I still believe in him.
Right.
And I still believe in the cause,
Mhm.
which is just making great music. That's always been the thing. It's just great music, a hit. It only take one song, and you out of there.
Right.
So that's been our thing. Just treat everything like that one song, and great things is gonna happen. So it's been happening.
Um, so I know, like, also during the time, like you said, like you've become a minister.
Yeah.
You've become a dad of two,
Three,
three.
three beautiful girls. Yep. Judea Latrice, Josiah Lanice, and Jada Latisse.
Yeah, and I met your wife, of course, because we
Egypt.
graduated
Yeah, that's
on the
funny.
same
Yeah, I was
day.
just telling her. I was just telling her this morning. I was like, you don't remember her, Zach? Like she was in your graduating class, and she was
Yeah.
like, well, I really gotta meet her again because I said hi, but I don't remember. I
Right.
was
It was
like,
a day of excitement.
it
So
was. It
like
was a beautiful day.
yeah, it
Y'all
was
did y'all
really
thing.
it was yeah, because she got her master's and I finally after uh
Yeah.
a decade got settled down and was like, okay, I gotta get this BA. I gotta really start believing in myself.
Yeah.
So I
That's where it started.
like it's really a lot of respect to hear like just kind of where you were and what you went through, and then just kind of see where you are today.
Yeah, it's a big change because, like I said, like I said, no disrespect to nobody when I say these things, because I love everything and everybody that I've ever encountered. It's a different type of love, whether it was a good occasion or a bad one. It helped shape me to the guy I am today.
Right.
So, when the second time I went to jail, I was just in there for so many months. I was in there. I sat in jail for 7 months, but before I saw a judge. And the reason being because my second case was kind of major. I did some things and I fled the country. I didn't just leave the state. I fled the country. I took off.
Oh man, what you trying
Yeah.
to do?
I mean, I was trying to I was trying to get it.
I am trying to stay free.
Yeah. But that only lasted for so long because as soon as I came back, I got hemmed up. I was with Whack, and that's another story. But yeah, so I'm sitting in jail, and the first couple months go by. Like this is the first time in my life where I actually sat in jail for every single holiday, including my birthday.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it was real tough for me. It was a lot of nights that I cried. It was definitely a lot of nights that I fought, and it was a lot of days that I didn't sleep or eat, But it strengthened me, especially when you was a hothead. I tell the CEOs like, yo, move me for my protection, and they don't move me. So I tell them like, I'm gonna kick off a riot, and then they don't believe me, and then I kick off a riot.
But
And
doesn't that give you more time when you do stuff like
yeah,
that?
it do. But at that point, like when you in there, and it's survival of the fittest. So like I said, the jail is broken up into two parts, right? You got the non-violent side, and then you got the violent side. So when I first went into jail, my roommate was this old man who just woke up in the middle of the night and killed his family.
Oh wow.
That ish lasted for about an hour because I made so much noise. I didn't want to be in the cell with him. So they eventually moved me.
Right.
Then again, when they did it in a sarcastic way to where it's like, oh, you don't want to be here? Oh, we look at your file, we see you a Crip and you from this hood. Okay, we finna put you over here in this dorm. Now at this time,
Was it all Bloods?
no, it was worse. It was all Grape Streets.
Oh.
So not only did they put me on the top tier where all the people in the tier is Grape Streets, but they put on the TV where they show the Grape Streets and our gang beefing. So it's like a documentary on TV talking about our beef, and then you put me in here and then let them know where I'm from as you walking out. But it just so happens, see how God works though. Protection, covered. My life, I was destined for a certain thing. So no matter what the adversary tried to throw at me, I was covered, even though I wasn't walking.
Right. In that light, yeah.
But because of who I was chosen to be, I had mercy. So one dude was like, hey, I know that name, like Tree. And I'm like, yeah. You over woo, 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 woo. I'm like, yeah, who am I talking to? Oh, this Trouble. Oh, Trouble, what's up, And it instantly made the COs hate us even more. Because y'all put me in a situation where y'all thought I was finna get packed out and jump.
Right.
And then I end up running into one of my boys.
Look at that.
That I was just on the streets with, that I just served to, that I just was hanging with.
Look at that.
And got a pass. Because he was up in there running stuff. So, And so I told the CEOs, like, look, I'm not happy. I'm finna kick off another riot. So they don't believe you. So you kick off a riot. Then they transfer me. Then when they transfer me and then they put me in another situation to where I tell them, okay, take me back. I'm about to kick off another riot. Take me back.
Who would they put you with this time?
They took me to a city jail. They took me out the county
Mm-hmm.
and they took me to a city jail.
So what's the difference between a city and a county jail?
The county is grimy, meaning like you gotta always stay ready.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
The city is just dirty. It's just nasty. Nasty. So I was just like, yo, I'm not finna do this, you know, and I kicked off another riot. So now I go back to the county. So I'm in there, and then all of a sudden I see a judge. When I see the judge, my PO come in there, and she's hot. She's hot. She's like, I want the max. I want him. Whatever you can give him that's the max. I want that. You know, I'm already in jail for like a year almost at this point. You feel me? So she's trying to give me another year or 3 years.
So when did it, like, at what point did it get to the point where it was like, okay, this is it, like I can't?
So I got sentenced and I had to do another, I don't know, another year. But I got credit for time served, so it was like 18 months total or whatever the case was. I got locked up in like 08 and I got out April 09.
Okay.
So it was like almost a year, some change, 3 months or so. So I'm in there, and when I get sentenced now, after all the stuff that I've been through, I'm like, I'm starting to behave myself. I got friends in there. I'm chilling, like, and then I meet this woman who's a female correctional officer, and it just goes bad from there. It goes bad because, I end up giving her a nickname, and then it stuck with her, and everybody when they would like see her, they would yell out the nickname that I created for her.
Right.
But
why did you give her a nickname? What was it about her?
It was her butt. Like she was like a short hybrid. She was mixed, and I wasn't really at that point. None of my life I was into light skinned girls. I'm not like that. Y'all cool, but I like chocolate. But this one she was different. She was different because she had power, and she was cool. Like her personality, she was cool. So I would flirt with her all the time. She would do little stuff for me, just give me a little leeway here and there, and people started getting jealous, and then all of a sudden, something happened one day. It made me like the happiest person ever, and then somehow it got back to her husband, who was the supervisor of the COs in the jail. And this dude was huge. I want to say about 6'6", 6'7", all solid 320. He was solid. The way he grabbed me by my neck and my shirt, bro, I thought I was done. I thought he was gonna like kill me.
Oh.
But I ended up getting sent to the hole for the duration of my time.
Right.
Now when I get in the hole, off back, I'm in there with a racist dude, a guy that don't like God and he don't like black people.
An atheist and a racist.
So I'm in there. We in there thumping. You can't hear the thump because everything is cement in the hole, but we was in there thumping. You know what I'm saying? We'll take like a 20-minute, 15-minute pause, catch our break. He'll say something. We back at it, rumbling.
Oh, he knew what he was doing. That was
so they got yeah. So they came in one day. We was rumbling, got him up out of there, took us both out. Now at this point, I'm out now at 23-hour lockdown, 1 hour a day, and then my 1 hour a day is like 3:00 in the morning. So everybody's asleep. I can't call family. Matter of fact, family don't even know I'm in jail at this point. I've been going away so long that people don't know where I'm at. But my auntie, my favorite auntie, used to come out there and gamble. She came out there and she just so happened to call around, found out I was in jail
And this was in Vegas.
in Vegas.
Okay.
So when I get out, I'm in the hole, and I go through all that lockdown, and I say a prayer to God. I'm hearing all these stories about what guys do it on the outside, what they got, just typical stuff. And it's just like, okay, this ain't the life for me. I need something different. So I started praying, and then I asked God, I said, if you get me out of this situation, I'll serve you. But see, the cold part and the truth is, before I even start praying to God, I asked the devil or God to reveal themselves to me. And whichever one revealed themselves for me first, that's the one I was going to follow.
That's deep.
So that was my prayer in jail. Like, whoever is real, whichever one of y'all is real and come to me first, that's the one I'm going to follow. So I didn't know what was going on because I was in a hole.
Right.
I didn't have no communication with nobody. I was isolated by myself. So I just sat in there. I would pick up my word. I would just read that. But then I put it down because I get frustrated.
Right. It's you was having a battle.
Yeah, I was going through a spiritual change, a spiritual battle at that point. So somehow, miraculously, my name got called. It was time for me to go. I got rolled up. All right, I'm out on the streets. We with it, come pick me up. When they come pick me up, the secretary, she can't even recognize me because I done put on a little weight and I got D'Angelo braids. Meaning like my hair is braided straight back and it's all matted because it's been braided for so long, So
Right.
I got out looking like D'Angelo, So I tell myself as I'm walking out the door, like, God, this is my last time walking through the jail doors. I'm not coming back, Now, this was the crazy part. Stipulations of me not going back to jail was I could not have one run-in with the police for 5 years. Not one, not a speeding ticket, not a pullover, not a nothing, and get it reported.
So, and this is from your probation officer?
This is the stipulations of me getting out of jail the very last time in 2009. So in order for me to get off of parole and probation, these are the stipulations. You cannot have one run-in with the police for 5 years. That's the hardest thing to do. Especially when you're black.
That's what I'm saying. Like, man,
it's like you set up for failure.
You are a black man. You knew knew exactly what the stipulations were and how that would affect.
But God, praise be to God, I didn't get not one speeding ticket. And when I tell you, I used to ride around with burners on me. I didn't get one speeding ticket. None of that. Like I stayed. I got my act together.
Right.
But I still had my little, my little ways. But so after all that was over. I'm in the studio one night with DJ Paul. Like I said, we was having a 10-hour session, and my pops called me, and I didn't answer the phone. So he called Wack, and Wack answered the phone like, Tree, your pop's on the phone. I'm like, why he calling you? Obviously, it was an emergency. Now, this guy took me in. I wasn't his blood, but he took me in like I was his blood, treated me like I was his blood, cussed me out like I was his blood. So when he called me, I knew that it was important. So he was like, I need you to come home. It was like Father's Day weekend about to arise. That actual that weekend was Father's Day weekend. So I was like, all right, I'm in the studio. Wack was like, I tell you what, I'm going to put him on a red eye as soon as we, done with this session. You know what I'm saying? He'll be out there. So I finished the session with DJ Paul. Everything went well, got paid. Wack sent me to L.A. I get to L.A., my pops is dying. He got cancer. It done hit his bones. He need help, So I got other brothers and sisters that are in the city. Right. Didn't come help him. So I left Vegas, studio life, making good money, to come back and help Pops. So took care of Pops, and he passed. And I just ended up staying in LA. I never went back to Vegas.
Right.
From 2012 until today, I just stayed.
Right.
Like my whole career, everything I had was in Vegas.
Right.
But this was the shift. Things had to happen in order for me to be where I am today.
Right.
So end up coming back, taking care of him. He passed, end up staying. At that point, it's like, okay, build the dreams. If you build it, they will come. So I just start stacking my little bread, and I built my studio. And then I started making beats. Now I got personal relationships with these people now. So now it's like I got features and I got a sound. So now it's like, okay, it's this dude in LA that's a mixture between Battle Cat and DJ Quick. But he also got a Timberland vibe. He also got a Just Blade. Like he can he's multi talented. He can give you a sound. He's R&B and he can do whatever you want him to do, and he create on the fly. And he make beats in under 20 minutes. So it's like, okay, So I'm just building off of that and just building, and then I start getting the LaToya Williams, like the singers. I start getting just different, just different people I'm producing for, and it just took me somewhere else. And now it got to a point where I was like, you know what? I didn't gave the world the first 36 years of my life. Right. Meaning the world, like everything that was going on dealing with the world, the way that they wanted you to operate, I gave it to them. Right. I gave them my mind, my body, my soul for 36 years. I was a heathen, I was out there robbing people, robbing banks, just doing all kind of dumb stuff, And one day I just said, okay, enough is enough. 36 years, I gave it to them. The next 36 years plus whatever I got, I'm going to give it to God. Right. And I'm going to just see where he take me. Right. So I started taking them serious. I just started getting in the word. I just started changing my life, just the way that I was as a person. I started loving harder. I started forgiving. I started asking for forgiveness. Healing. And then, I started healing. And then one day I get in the studio and it's like so many people in there and it's smoked out. And I felt at home, but I felt distant. That day, I just felt like I was just out of place. Even though I was in my environment, I just felt out of place. And so after everybody left, I was just like, all right, what's going on? My boy JR, who won a Super Bowl with the Patriots, was one of my best friends. We started doing music together. Okay. That was a shift, is when at first I'm looking at it like, no offense, Jay, and I don't want you to ever think this about me because I was never or have never been that type of person. But at this point in time, when you got a friend that won the Super Bowl, you kind of want to ride the wave. You know what I'm saying? You want to ride the wave. You want to, you know what I'm saying? You want to just. You might be, yeah. You want to go be where he at. You know what I'm saying? You want to try to get him on all your tracks to stay relevant. You want to do all these different things.
You want them to help a little bit,
but without helping. Right. I just want to ride the wave because I don't know I never know what it felt like. Right. And then I got around Jay, and Jay was so humble that he didn't care about the wave. He didn't care about riding it out. He didn't care about none of that. He was just a different type of person. So being around him allowed me to acquire some of his attributes when it comes to being stand out. Right. Because I would be with him. He's a millionaire. I would be with him and I would have on all this jewelry. For what reason?
You see my face? Like, I'm like.
For what reason? Because I was broke.
Oh.
And
Let's talk about it.
He got money and he ain't even dressing there looking like that.
Right.
Matter of fact, he don't even want people to know he got money.
Right. I'm that person.
So he stayed modest, you know what I'm saying? So it just taught me a lot of things, he's been that big brother. Like he on the music and in life, he's just been that big brother. So having a guy like Wack kind of help cultivate the gift, the talent, and then having JR come and put his twist on the cultivation and plant seeds and different things like that, to where it's like now we're not gonna rap about the world. We're not gonna rap about all that stuff. When we rap now, we're just gonna give praise to God. We're gonna be like David did through song, song and dance. We just gonna lift him up. So everything that we do, that little situation became the shift. So it was like when I get in the studio, it's like I could make a beat for you, and whatever you decide to do with that beat is fine. Right. but I'm not finna rap worldly on there. I'm not finna get on there. I'm not finna do this A, B, and C. But I will produce for you, and then
Right.
you can do whatever you want because I'm praying over my stuff. God, let the right stuff come out. So when people come to purchase, it's for them.
Right.
Whatever they do with it is on them, but
Right.
allow me to still be able to be blessed with my craft,
Right.
and I'm giving it to you. Take control. So that was my prayer on that, and then the rest, like I said, the rest was history. I've not only stopped doing what the world was doing and giving them that sound, but now I'm giving you the same sound with meaning, with substance.
Right.
So that's that's where I'm at with it. My first gospel album is complete. It's called Delivered from the Flesh. And the
Hey.
reason why I chose that title is because in order to make it into the kingdom, you have to be delivered from the flesh. There is no question about it. Like you're gonna always go through some hardship. You're gonna always have something going on, like a bondage or baggage or what they call it's a word when something is attached to you, but it's just a constant battle, constant fight. You're gonna always go through this trial because it's just a part of you.
Right.
Everything is not gonna be able to be released the way like how I stopped smoking cigarettes.
Right.
Yeah, I can't stop looking at women like that the way I stopped smoking cigarettes. That's just a battle that I'm gonna have to, only because they always wearing spandex. So every time you see a female, it's like you gotta look. It's like they make you look. Whether it's the
They make you
eyelashes,
look,
I see an eyelash
right.
before the rest of your body. That's
I
you want
mean,
attention.
I,
But then if
I
I see
mean,
you always in
but I
spandex,
mean, like if that's what they comfortable with, that's I
well,
mean,
I
it's a
get
it's
that.
a it's a always I get it. It's a battle
But
always.
it's a different type of,
Yeah.
as a male, right?
Uh-huh.
A male that loves women, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm speaking for the majority of males that love women. We're gonna always have that fight
Right.
with our eyes
Mm-hmm.
and our imagination
Mm-hmm.
because we see it. It used to be a point where we didn't see it, where women would dress, to a point where you had to use your imagination to even think remotely in that sense, right?
You right about
But now,
that.
today's time, it's like they reveal everything
There's
right
nothing
there.
to
It's nothing to imagine because
no.
you're seeing it. So it's like when you see it all the time, it's like, oh man, another one. Oh gosh, it's just clapping. I can't even walk straight. Like you're gonna see it. You feel me? And then as a male, you're gonna look. Why? Because you're not like that. You're heterosexual. This is what you're attracted to. You're attracted to the opposite sex. So when you see it, you're gonna see it. It's a constant battle. Some things
Right.
are not going to go away that easily.
Right. Right.
Cigarettes for me, all you had to tell me was the filter was made of pig's blood. I don't even eat bacon. You feel me? I stay away from that. So at the end of the day, when I'm smoking cigarettes and that smoke is coming in, is being filtered through pig's blood. Okay, now I gotta I'm
Oh,
cool. You feel me?
that's
Cold
I'm
turkey. I can
so
stop
done.
that. You feel me? I can stop that, but I can't stop looking at women.
Right.
So we're gonna have certain challenges throughout the rest of our days. Like
Right,
we're going to
right.
have, we're not perfect. We're not unblemished. Christ was the only one that was unblemished in the flesh.
Right.
What we can do is try to be as perfect as possible by being delivered from the flesh. Because when you walk in the spirit, you don't fulfill the lust of the flesh. So hence why I named the album that, because it inspires me daily when I listen to it to stay away from the flesh. Because bad things happen when you cater to the flesh.
Right.
Straight up,
Oh, amen to that. I know that's
as soon as you're in traffic, somebody cuts you off. If you let the flesh get to you, you cussing them out, you
boy.
throwing something at their car, But
Yeah.
if you're walking in the spirit, then you're gonna understand that people are there every single day to test you,
Yes.
to see if you're gonna pass that day or you're gonna fail.
Yes.
It's just that simple. Everything we go through in life is a test, and it's up to us whether we're gonna pass or fail.
Right.
A lot of classes I don't want to repeat no more. I got tired of repeating them.
You are speaking.
So I mean, for real. At the end of the day, it's like logic is logic, common sense is common sense, but realness is realness. Like
Right.
God gave us a certain design, and if we just follow that design, that blueprint, we're gonna be all right. But every time we go against that, we bring in hardship, unnecessary hardship to ourselves.
Right.
Henceforth, the Bible says it's okay for us to be angry, but sin not. We haven't even gotten to that part. We haven't even gotten to the understanding of it's okay to be angry. The Bible says it's okay to be angry.
Mm-hmm.
But then we overlook that and go straight to the sin not, but sin. Like, hey, you cut me off, you stupid.
Right, right.
You know? Or I don't like this person because this person don't like this person. It's just everything
Right.
is just so childish when you look at it in the flesh. And the spirit is just like, yo, it's showing you something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because my wife used to tell me, I love my wife. Shout out to Egypt. I love my
Hey,
wife.
Egypt.
She when we first met, I was just so lost. I was backwards. I was coming out of it, but I still had an attachment to the streets
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to where I would go chase the helicopters. Like if the helicopter was in my neighborhood,
You wanted to know where it
I'm
was
I'm
going
I'm grabbing
down.
my pistol and I'm jumping in my car and I'm going to follow the helicopter to make sure the homies is okay, make sure everything
Mm-hmm.
is straight.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times I would tell her to get in the car with me, and
Oh.
she would go with me, and we would just hit the corners and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. So um, the reason I was saying that is because like I came a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she she has helped watch me grow from a heathen into the man you see before you, which is like real into love and into God. Period. Point blank. Those are two things that matter.
The strength of a woman.
Yeah, but the right woman, because you can have a woman, but she ain't right for you. You know. But I look back. Me and Jr. had a conversation this morning. Me and my best friend. When somebody's been with you when you were at your lowest low, and they stuck by you, you know, and they help you, that's a real helpmate.
Mm.
You know, it's not what can benefit me, it's what can benefit us.
Right.
So she's always had that mentality of us growing, us being at a certain point.
Right.
And
But I want to say this: you were able to receive that though, because you can get a helpmate right beside you, and you'll be so intimidated that you just walk away from it, or you're
no,
not
it's not
ready.
even that. It's not even that. It's what people bring to the table these days.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of people say that they have morals and values, but don't even know how to respect one another.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm gonna talk to you, not at you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pray for you, not hinder you. Like these are things that are instilled in her.
Mm-hmm.
That out of all the women that I've ever dated, it's just always been about them.
Mm-hmm.
Always about them. Always about them. So it's just like, okay, you can have a woman and she could be cool. Y'all could be having fun and all that, but is she the one for you?
Right.
Is she doing what she need to do to get you to the next level so you can get her to the next level? So it could be a back and forth thing. And you're just not getting that with a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to submit. And I have to say this: women are not the only ones that have to submit. Men have to submit too.
Oh, brother, you coming back for that conversation?
It's true, because the order is Christ, man, woman, child.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The child submits to the mom submits to the dad or the husband. Husband submits to Christ. That's the order. The reason why a lot of relationships don't work is because the order is flipped upside down. The woman is in charge. She makes all the decisions. She has to say so. The man just do whatever the woman wants in order to keep a peaceful home. And in reality, it's bringing more and more and more chaos.
Right.
Because the order is flipped upside down.
Right.
So when you take that order and you put it back in its natural state, then it'll work for you.
Right.
It's just like this. What was your favorite sport in school, in high school?
Oh man, between basketball and football,
All right.
always.
Basketball. Perfect example, right? Relationships is like the game of basketball, right? You can have on a uniform, you can have the ball in your hand, right? But if you don't know the plays and know how to run the plays, you're destined to be a loser. You can't win any games. There is no foundation. You look the part. I see you got the ball in your hand. You took a dribble or two. It was solid. The ball didn't go all over the place. All right. But do you know the plays? Do you know how to last in this first quarter and then get us to the fourth quarter with a win?
Right. Right.
It's relationships. A lot of relationships don't know the playbook. henceforth.
Oh, they know how to play games. They
No,
do.
yeah, but they playing basketball with baseball and football rules and
Right.
hockey rules.
Right.
So it's like it's not going you're not gonna ever get nowhere.
Right.
You're not gonna ever win a game because you don't know how to play the sport and it's
Mm-hmm.
the way it's supposed to be played.
Mm-hmm.
Now relationships is a sport because you're going to have to endure. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to have to train. You're going to have to train yourself to know exactly what this person wants,
Mm-hmm.
what they like, what they don't like, and what they need.
Mm-hmm.
So you can know the differences. Okay, I'm walking in, she's at a 20%. I need to already know how to beat her 80 to get her back to 100.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys are not doing that.
Right.
A lot of guys see a woman down at 20 and they want to keep them down. Females see a guy at 20, 10%, and she want to keep him down
Mm-hmm.
versus replenishing him or her. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's a give and take. Like what I want, I'm going to have to put out.
Right.
And if you're not genuine about what you're putting out,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like Cain and Abel. I'm giving you my best fruits. I'm giving you the first fruits. I'm giving you the best of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got a Cain in a relationship that just want to give whatever.
Right.
Whatever's closest to me, I'm just gonna offer that.
Right.
But it's not gonna suffice.
It's no effort in it.
It's no love.
No love. No. Yeah. So I'm gonna end us here on that note, and I just kind of want to ask you, what is your self care like?
My self care is God. So without Him, nothing is possible, and I'm realizing that. Like every day I wake up, it's Him. I can't tell myself to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm in a slumbering state and I'm unconscious at that point,
Mm-hmm.
how can I wake myself up? God does that every single day. He allows us to wake up. It's a different day to do something that we didn't do the day before, right?
Right.
And that's it. You know, so everything that I'm doing right now is basically shifting me to make it into the kingdom of heaven one day.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ultimate goal, is to do whatever it is that's necessary here for me to be able to walk through those gates.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've done a lot of stuff in my life to where I've hurt a lot of people and a lot of people hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that would really devastate me is hearing depart from me.
Mm.
I just don't. You just even imagining that is just like, yo, like that's one of the illest feelings that you can ever feel. It's like your stomach dropping like 1,000,000,000 times,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes any sense. Like just thinking about that thought of standing before God, and He said, "Depart from me, those that workers of iniquity. I never knew you." It's like, man, and before you're already dropping, but after He say, "Depart from me," and your body drop, it still takes seconds before your soul screams as you're going to hell. I just can't. I don't even want to experience that.
Right. Right.
So I understand that I'm a work in progress. So I got to do everything that I can now to make it into that realm to where I don't hear a depart from me. I hear I rather take, hey, Montreal, you barely made it. Okay, I made it. I'm out. Move. Let me get in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Barely made it and depart from me. I mean, it's either or, because
Right.
we none of us deserve a straight off the back welcome
Mm-hmm.
into heaven. None of us. And I'm just being sincere. And if you think that you are that person, you need to you need to think about it, because God is a particular God. He's a jealous God.
Mm-hmm.
So just imagine I don't know how old any of us are, all of it like that, but the majority of your years, if you really look back at it, you've given the world 96.9% of your time, 96.9% of your health, 96.9 of your heart, your mental, everything has 96.9% going to the world, and that 3 point whatever percent
Mm-hmm.
with God,
Yeah.
it ain't going. It's not adding up.
Right.
So I'm just being honest. Like a
Yeah.
lot of us have to really look at where we are and what we're doing, and is it adding up? Like if my beats, right? If my beats are sounding worldly, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I get them in my presence to make that worldly sounding beats, I'm giving you God in the process.
Mm-hmm.
I'm allowing His likeness to shadow through me, and you get a glimpse of what it's like to be connected with God.
Right.
Just that's a win.
Right.
But I don't want to be the type of person that's gonna hurt you or hinder you. I
Mm-hmm.
want to be a help.
Mm-hmm.
It's two H's in this world: a help or a hindrance. A
Right.
lot of us are a hindrance, and we don't want to admit it. But that's when you become real with yourself, then you be real with God. And that's just the end of the day. Look, I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of, but for the rest of my days, I just want to do as much as I can to be worthy in your eyes to say, servant well done, period,
Right.
point blank.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So
So let the listeners know what your IG is.
Beats by Big Tree, Beatz by BY Big Tree.
And your production company is.
Beats by the Treehouse,
That's
BEATZDABY Treehouse.
so. I just want to thank you so much for joining me
Appreciate
today.
it. I appreciate you having me.
Yes, of course, and just making this happen. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, all of you guys that came in to watch and see what this
Definitely,
is about. If you like it, subscribe, give it a thumbs
definitely
up.
subscribe.
Give
Definitely
me your feedback because I want your feedback and show my boy some love too. That's he's got man, you drop some knowledge, some
appreciate it.
pearls.
Yeah,
And y'all have a good day. Show some love.
definitely
Help someone.
love someone.
Love someone. Bye.
Holla.